Hey Adalo makers, today we're going to look at how to count records in Xano when you're using Xano as your backend. But first, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss an update from Adalo and you get all the best tutorials on how to build. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this thing. So I've just got a Xano database set up here. I've got ingredients, recipes, and a user. And if I click into one of these tables here, you can see I've got 3 recipes: scrambled eggs, eggplant parmesan, and enchiladas. And then if I open up my ingredients tab or table, you can see that I've got the name of all my ingredients here. I could put in an amount here if I wanted to, but then I've got a recipes ID. And this is kind of the equivalent of relationships in Adalo, right? I don't need to create 2 sides of this relationship. So for example, in the recipes collection or table, I don't need to go and also attach it to the ingredients here. All I have to do is really just put what recipe each of these ingredients belongs to. All right, so you can see that I've got different numbers of ingredients for each of these recipes here. So let's say that in my app, I wanted to actually display in this list of recipes, maybe I wanted to display as the subtitle how many ingredients it requires to make that recipe. Well, this is actually pretty easy to do. As you can see, I've kind of already got my database imported here. So if you haven't done that, I would definitely encourage you to go and watch that video. I'll put a link in the top right of the screen, of the YouTube screen there. And once you have that kind of imported, you can see I've got my ingredients with the same kind of properties here. I've got recipes with an ID here, and we're going to use this ID to count. All right. So, if you've worked in Adalo before, you know that typically you could go in here to subtitle and you could just change this and say, oh yeah, the current recipe's ingredients, right? But we don't have a relationship here. They don't work exactly the same as they do in Adalo. But what we can do is instead of going through the recipes, we can actually just count the number of ingredients for each recipe by going to More, Ingredients, and then counting the ingredients. And then we can add a filter here to say, hey, only count the ingredients where the recipe ID that's associated with that ingredient is equal to the current recipe's ID. And the current recipe is referring to whatever list item it is. So for each of these recipes in this list, it's going to count the number of ingredients that belong to that recipe. All right, so let's go ahead and preview this and we'll see what that looks like. Cool, so you can see right here it says scrambled eggs. There's 5 ingredients there: eggplant parmesan 7, enchiladas 9. And of course we could go in here and add, ingredients as a suffix to this if we wanted to as well. All right, so that's how you can easily do counts of records when using Xano as your backend.